All right, so for all of you that are on, I'm going to ask if you can make sure just that you're on mute. That way we don't pick up any background sound. We want to welcome you to our first ever online Westlane resource, I guess, tutorial or whatever you want to call it. This is brand new for everybody. So we just want to thank you for joining us. And we wanted to go over some of these resources that the coaches started putting together. If you have any resources that you would like for us to add, please email the coaches or myself. This is Nancy McDowell. If you didn't see my name there, I'm the one that will be sort of guiding the sharing on here, but I will hand it off to the coaches in a few minutes. So I just want to make sure that everybody is aware on this extended learning resources spreadsheet that there are several tabs at the bottom with lots of resources. So I'm going to start with the introduction tab. If you see here, and hopefully you can see my screen. Again, if you don't see my screen, you may have to click on you at the very top in the right, and just let us know if you can't see anything in the comments section, and one of the coaches will help you. All right, so on the introduction tab, you see that there are tons of education companies right now currently offering free online resources that typically cost. So these are all things that you can sign up for and use. There's also another link here that has more free resources. If you click on that, there's another spreadsheet that someone created, and it has a description, grade level. I know that Laura Swain, the literacy coach, said that a lot of these are some of them are high school. So if you have any honors classes or anything, you may want to check that out as well. So we have all of these resources down here that are offering free licenses right now to use. One of the ones that I want to point out is Common Lit. So Common Lit is one that is really great for all subjects. And if you can see here, you can click on the library. You can sign up for free if you want, but if you look here, you can browse by different books, genre, grade level, literary device, text sets. So here you can see a lot of INS. We have themes and even some Spanish texts that are on there as well. So for example, if I just go in here and let's see, go to text sets, and if I go American Revolution, it's going to pull up all of these articles, and it tells you what kind of article it is, what genre, what grade level, and Lexile level. So this is a free resource that you can also use for any of the activities that you're giving students this week and or possible future e-learning days. So that is one that is great there. If we go into the all contents tab, you can see that we have some of them are highlighted that our coaches will go over, but one that I want to highlight is Newsella right now. It has been pushed out for the entire district. You can use the library. So if you've used this before, you know that you have to pay for the library now. Right now, that is completely free. So you can use those articles that are leveled by Lexile. They should have a button in Canvas that says Newsella. We're working on that right now. Even if that isn't there, you can still go to Newsella and sign up with your email, and it should be a completely free account that you have. Okay. I also want to point out that Newsella actually created a list of resources on coronavirus for students. So these are some great resources that they put together, just really trying to help our students understand what's going on. So if you notice here, there are tons of articles all on this. I mean, it even has science and math and health. And then it even has ideas here for students at the top. Let me see, going through, and then we have some modified lessons for students with learning disabilities. Here's another great website. She has lots of different resources on maps and globes, introduction to biology, and she's reading Because of Winn-Dixie every day, and she's adding more things. So if you have some things for students, your SPED students, this could also be a great resource as well. Another one that I want to point out is Wonderopolis, and this is great for student inquiry. Here they have a question of the day every single day. You can explore wonders. So, for example, today, wonder of the day is, what is COVID-19? The kids can go in here. It always gives an article. It always includes vocabulary, and usually it has like a video as well. So it looks like here's the video, but they can go in here and explore different wonders from the past. So here's like 1,039 wonders from before. Here are the recent ones. How long have schools had sports team? What was the French Revolution? What is scoliosis? How did Starbucks start? And they can even add their own as well. And what are you wondering? So there's tons of really cool resources here that are completely free. Your kids do not have to sign up for this. You don't have to sign up for this. It's all just very easy access for them to go into. So I am going to go ahead. Those are a couple that I wanted to highlight just so that you are aware of those. I'm going to hand it off to Andrea McCoy, who is our STEM coach, and she will move forward with a couple more tabs.
Hi, everybody. My first one I want to highlight on the All Content tab is Edpuzzle, and we'll come back to that when we go to math and science as well for a little bit more specifics. Edpuzzle is great. It was something I always did when I had a sub in class for a couple reasons. One, students get to watch content with embedded checks for understanding. So you would assign the video to students. When they watch it, if they click off that tab to go to another tab, right? Like they would never do that, but just in case, it stops the video. And so they actually have to physically have it open on the screen and watch it. The next part about that is you embed multiple choice or written response questions into different places throughout the video, so they can check their understanding and you can check their understanding as well. It gives you a score at the end, so you can see who watched the video and then how they did on that assessment as well. What I will show you on the math and science tabs is there are a lot of these already created. So you could use any YouTube video and add your own questions in, but here's the example on the math tab, where somebody has actually compiled a list of math lessons already created within Edpuzzle. So you can see it's broken up by approximate grade and different standards. I mean, it's listed with Common Core, but we can make the association based on topic as well. If you don't need that math list and you need something else, you can just search on there for a particular topic that you're teaching. So you can make your own, you can edit someone else's, or you could just duplicate someone else's as well. Going back to the All Contents tab, another thing that I wanted to point out was Edulastic. Edulastic offers questions for students based on standard. So this is not like all engaging and that sort of thing, but it is nice for formative assessments because it offers a lot of different types of questions for students, and you can search by state, you can search by content, and then you can search by standard. So if you do have a state tested subject, it will actually have those posted released repository items from iLearn. So those are already on there for students to do, and this is all free as well. So going back to the spreadsheet, let's take a moment and look at the math tab. Stephanie, I think, is on here. Stephanie shared this link with me under Desmos activities. So if you haven't checked that out yet for math, it is worth your time. The best part about it is it lists all of the things the different activities on Desmos. But what's great is, let's say you want to utilize some of this time to fill in some gaps for students. You can go and look at third, fourth, and fifth grade content, which is really helpful as well. So lots there to view and practice with. Headed back to the spreadsheet, the one other thing I wanted to highlight for you, well, we have Edpuzzle videos on there. And then I also have some resources that are from Joe Bolaire, who's kind of that math guru. And those ones at the bottom, those are not techie. They are mostly non-techie, which is kind of nice as well. And then scrolling up, a couple other things are the problem-based learning. Is that what they call it? Yeah, problem-based learning search engine. So if you're looking for some of those rich math tasks, or if you're looking for something a little more less online, less, drill and kill kind of with the practice problems, those offer some of those opportunities. I'm going to move on to the science tab. I want to talk, this BrainPop was linked on the all contents page, and BrainPop is appropriate for all contents. What I'm going to do right now, though, I was talking with a teacher earlier today, and they created a free link, but they were having a free login, but they were having a hard time getting students to log in, right? Because you don't want your students to have to create a ton of logins. So what I did was I created a login that any student at the middle school level could use. I put the username and password on there. The way that BrainPop has communicated with me, I think this is completely legal. And so if you look at username and password, if you linked to a BrainPop video, then students would just log in with this generic username and this generic password so that they can watch the video. So they're not going to turn things in on BrainPop, but they have access to the videos that way. That applies to all content. Looking specifically at science, I love the two at the top. They are predominantly biology, but there's a lot of other stuff on there. Learn.genetics has a partner site called teach.genetics. So that is really helpful as well, but it is very user-friendly, very engaging for students. I think it specifically goes towards some of those higher students. The FET is great as well. So FET kind of went through a rough time when they got rid of Java, and now it should all be accessible via Chromebooks, which is really nice, or your phone or anything like that. So that has been around for a while with interactive simulations. There's some math ones on there too, but it is predominantly science. And I think that is all I have for you. Let me know if you have questions or BrainPop issues, or you want to try an Edpuzzle. I'm going to pass it over to Laura. Laura is our lit coach, so she'll be going over LNL and INS.
Hi, everyone. We just had a question. If you have things that you would like to add to this sheet, please go ahead and email Nancy or myself or Andrea, and we can get it added to the sheet, because we would like this to be an expanding document for everyone. Okay, so I'm going to focus on Lang and Lit right now. And Nancy, if you could scroll down a little bit, I wanted to highlight something called PicLit today. Let's see. Yes, so PicLit, basically this is a website where students can pick a picture, and then they can add text to the picture, create a caption. You can use it however you want, in whatever creative capacity you'd like your students to use it in. And then they have the option of saving it or sharing it out. This is great if you want your students to focus on like parts of speech, or you're doing metaphors, analogies, just something a little bit different maybe than what they've been doing more recently. And then if we go back to our sheet, the other one is Tween Tribune. And I like this for a couple of reasons. It is leveled at the top. So depending on, if you want to go up or down, grade levels. And then once you are on the page, they have a variety of articles that they can choose from, but those are also differentiated by Lexile. So if you had an English language learner, or if you had a special education student, somebody who needed a lower Lexile level, it'll take that article and put it right at their level. You can also, it is searchable. So if you have a specific topic that you're wanting your students to study, you could use the search box and search. The last thing I wanted to highlight for Lang and Lit is a resource that I like, that's Ready Reading. This is really a company that usually you have to pay for, but they've opened this up for us. And what I like about it is, as a teacher, you do first have to sign up and get yourself an account, and I've linked the ways that you do that on the spreadsheet. But once you get access to the toolbox, you get access through grades K through 8. And so you can go up or down as needed. But like right now, Nancy's in 6th grade, and over to the left, it shows what the skills and strategies are. So like, for example, lesson 1, determining central ideas and details. If you follow that row over, there's an interactive tutorial that's about 13 minutes long. I was playing with this earlier, and I believe that once you pull it up on your teacher computer, you could link it to Canvas, and then the students could access the video right from there. The other thing is, as you keep going across, there are student workbook pages. There's even reteach, that sort of thing. And our students may not be able to print things out, but we could utilize Cami, which takes a PDF and turns it into something that the students can type in or write on with like a online writing tool. So I just thought that this was a good website for giving the kids a video very specific to a reading skill and strategy, but then also following it up with a graphic organizer or one of their pages. Also, for other content areas on here, that it says Ready Reading, but it does also offer math and writing. So same thing, there would be math videos, and then there would be writing videos. So it's just overall a great resource. I am now going to transition to INS, and I'm going to highlight 3 things there. The first one is the Facing History website. What I liked about it is when you go in, you can look at things by topic. So on the top of the educator page, it says topics. And so next one over. Anyways, you can see the link there. It says topics. And when you click on that, it does bring up these individual boxes of topics. You can also end up searching by topic. The next one back on our main spreadsheet is iCivics. So some of you may already be familiar with this if you teach civics as part of your curriculum, but this is, it feels more gamey or cartoonish, but there are a lot of great resources on here to use with your students. And then the last one, and this is probably my favorite with INS, but all subjects, is this website called HyperDocs. So this website, you can search a specific topic, and then it brings up a hyperdoc that you can push out to your students. And it's almost like a series of activities or a virtual field trip related to that topic. I don't know how many of you have used hyperdocs before, but they are pretty engaging. And like how Nancy just brought up, you can, oh, thank you, Nancy. Let's see if it loads here. So the idea would be that the student would progress through the hyperdoc. So generally a hyperdoc is not going to be completed in one day. It's going to be completed in a series of days. So there's a lot of hyperdoc resources online right now, but if you would like to create one of your own, this would be something that I would love to partner with you on. Nancy, can we go back to the main spreadsheet? I just want to highlight a few other ones. We don't need to click on them. I just want to point them out. Below that is secondary hyperdocs. Those are broken down by content, and they are specifically for secondary students. And then also, if you are part of Facebook, Facebook does have a group that is only for hyperdocs, and people are posting new content like every day. And you can go into the group and you can search it. You can search it based on your content, or middle school, or if you were taught multiple grades, you could search it by grade or whatnot. These are great resources for your students. Let's see. That's really all I have for INS. I am going to go ahead and hand it over to Madeline, who's going to be talking about SEL.
Thanks, Laura. So the first thing I'll highlight here is the virtual advisory / CPR. This is a document that I've been working on with a Northview teacher who's actually going to pilot doing a virtual advisory tomorrow, and I'm going to sit in on that with her using the Canvas conferences function. So I'd be happy to work with you on setting that up. But we put together kind of a template that could be adjusted each day, especially thinking like if we are going to go into e-learning officially after spring break, nobody knows, but just kind of like thinking proactively. So this could be a template that we could use. So doing a virtual greet and check-ins, we looked at like ways that we can modify different DD practices to be digital. Doing some kind of game. So tomorrow we're going to do the counting 1 to 10 virtually, like how you would do in person, and see if we can do that and modify that. And then getting some input from students on just like what they need, things that they would want to talk about during this advisory space. Providing a space for them to check in about Canvas or assignments or help each other out or ask any questions that they might have. And then we'll prep them for the next lesson, which what she's going to do, and just sharing this kind of as an option, is we're going to do like a virtual show and tell where students have an object from their house and they're going to tell a story about it, just again to continue like keeping up the joy, keeping up the connection and the community building. And then she's going to have a Google form for them to sign up for one-on-one check-ins with her, since that was a directive from administration, I believe, at all 3 of the middle schools to check in with all of your advisory people. So that's just a sample structure. If anyone else wants to do something like this, we can partner. I'd be happy to help you put that together, help you set it up with technology, sit in with you and help you run it. So just reach out. And then if you keep scrolling down, we started putting together a list of ideas and resources. So as has been mentioned, if you have anything that you're going to try out that you want to add to this, just email it to me and I'll throw it in there. So different greets and shares that can be modified digitally, protocols. One thing that stands out here is creating a group PowerPoint. So you could do something like having students make their own slide that represents them, or that represents like how their week is going, and putting in pictures from their life in there, and do that as a community building. One teacher is doing that, and there's an example in there from an Eastwood teacher, also using Padlet to do some of those things. And then we started drafting a list of games and virtual activities that could be done in that format. So I'll keep everybody posted on kind of how that goes tomorrow. And again, if you want to work on that, then I'd be happy to partner with you on that. And then I saw that there was a question. Yeah, I thought I read from the principals that advisory teachers should check in with their students over the next 2 weeks, just checking in with them one-on-one making sure. You'll have to ask your principal about that. I just read it in the emails, but I think just like saying hi, how are you doing? That's kind of what I gauged from it. But you might want to ask Bill if there's any specific things that he wanted you to check on, or if Bill's in here right now, if you want to speak on that. Yeah, so I'm reading the comments. We can talk to the principals about that, Sabra. All right, so we'll go ahead and keep going through, and I'll share a couple more things with you. So this is a really cool resource too, the Mindful Life Project, if you want to click on that. This has some of the best, like most engaging mindfulness, social emotional learning, breathing videos out there. There's some really cool stuff here that kids can do, and you can post them to your Canvas account or share them with students. So that's the Mindful Life Project. And then if you want to go back to the document, there's actually one more thing that someone just shared with me that I want to highlight. The very last resource on there that says from the Second Step community. So someone just shared this on the Second Step Facebook page, which I would recommend if you do Facebook following, because there have just been like a plethora of resources shared there that have been really, really helpful. But protecting mental health during COVID-19. So there's a lot of different resources, Second Step resources, things for families. So this could be something that you even share with parents and families. And then there's some different activities in there. I just got this, so I was just kind of looking over it, but it seems really great and like a really good comprehensive place for some resources. So then if we go to the teacher learning tab, I'll just highlight something on there that I added. So we put in some websites and resources and podcasts, just kind of compiled some things as coaches that you might want to take a look at, just if you have some extra time throughout these remote and e-learning days, looking at some of these resources that we pulled. But then I want to highlight, if you go, let's see, the trauma-informed course, if you can click on that. So this is a course that's usually $200 that's being offered for free right now for educators. There's a code on there, and I just started it, and there's some really good stuff on there as far as diving into some of the work that the district did before with Dr. Lori Desitals. Yeah, so that's the code that you can get this $200 course for free. And then the last thing that I'll lift up here is the Science of Happiness course. So that's the last link on there. And this is actually from the DOE. And this is kind of a 2-for-1 because this is a course that's focused on social, emotional, and behavioral wellness, like for adults, for teachers. But then there's also some really awesome resources for social, emotional learning for kids in here as well. So if you are doing anything awesome with your advisory students or supporting social emotional learning, please reach out to me. I can partner with you in that and support you or add some of your ideas to this list.
All right, this is Chad. Hi, and I'm just going to add a few things. I've noted a couple of things on this tab, the IBO blog post there on student agency. This is an actual individual in society's teacher and how she has incorporated student agency into her classroom. And the great thing about being online and kind of flipping the classroom is the opportunity for students to have a little bit more personalized learning and to have some options. So on a daily basis, they could create a schedule for how they're going to do their work throughout the day, times that they're going to take mindfulness breaks and such, but kind of lay that out and how that's all going to look. The other thing with them is perhaps giving them some choices of how to respond to some of the tasks and such. And so perhaps they could even teach some of the other students about some of the topics that you've already taught in your class by creating a little video of sorts or a Google Doc experience. And so that's definitely one thing. And then the second thing is the Getting Smart link. When we start thinking about student agency, you got to look at oftentimes some other cultural responsivity work that issues and such that underlie that agency, and so what kind of structures and such are we operating under that are maybe from our own perspectives, and not necessarily knocking down any of the walls and barriers that might be coming from their situations and their background and individuality. So, all right, so definitely for some expanded learning opportunities there for you to related to student agency. All right, back to Nancy.
Okay, I'm going to hand it over actually to Anastasia. Anastasia, if you want to point out some E&L resources that are throughout some of the tabs. Anastasia, if you're there, we don't hear you. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and go. I do want to point out some things on the electives tab that are on here. Conjugamos is on there, if I said that correctly or not, sorry. Another thing that I wanted to show you was the art bingo board. Destiny Cooper at Eastwood created this. And
yeah, can you hear me okay? I keep on cutting in and out.
Yep, I can hear you. Do you want to go ahead and you can go ahead and share, and then I will jump in on the
one
electives
that
when you're
I would like to point out is ListenWise. I'm sorry. Okay, can you hear me okay? It keeps on cutting in and out.
Yep,
but
go ahead.
One that
All right, we could hear, but now we can't. So I'm going to go ahead and keep going. So there's a 3D art bingo board here. I thought this was great because it has just different options that you could give students to do. So if you're an art teacher, also, even if you aren't an art teacher, you could take this, make a copy, and create your own choice board for students, different things that they can do at home that are not online, because I know some of these sites I've been hearing online that some of them are getting super busy because a lot of kids are trying to get on or so forth. So even just having options that are not online. Another thing that I wanted to share was the Spanish experiment. Spanish teachers, you may already know about this, but there are tons of stories here that you can hear, Spanish lessons and Spanish stories that you can read in English or Spanish. And then the Fable Cottage has French and Spanish, German, Italian. And here I know that you can listen to the stories in different languages as well. So those are some for the electives. I know there are some music sites on here and virtual field trips that give ideas for different elective teachers as well. Anastasia, are you there?
I am. Sorry
Okay.
about that. I keep
No,
on
you're
cutting.
fine. I'm going to mute and let you go ahead and share.
All right, perfect. So ListenWise is one that I wanted to share. This is podcast for students, and it's connected to standards. And they have podcasts specifically for language and lit, ELA, INS, social studies, and science. And what's great is there's accessible features, so you can slow down the podcast if you want to hear it a little bit slower. They have leveled questions. They have vocabulary that's integrated as well. It's all around a great resource. I also wanted to add on Common Lit is what Nancy shared earlier as well. That also has a lot of accessible features because there's read aloud. There's also paired readings as well, so you can get readings with an array of lexiles, and there's also video clips that are connected to Common Lit as well. So if we wanted to, show them on Common Lit.
Sure, I'll pull that up.
Yeah.
Just
so if you pick on any reading, they have a paired reading, and they also have media related items as well. So you can sometimes get video clips, and there's teacher's guides and a parent guide as well. And you can do the parent guide in Spanish. So this can also engage families if you click on the Espanol bottom in the bottom corner. So that can promote discussion in our households as well, as some parents might want to be involved with some of these activities. If we also want to show them ListenWise. So if you click on lessons, you can see that they have lessons and podcasts connected to social studies, science, and ELA standards. And you do have to sign up, but it's a free premium trial right now. It's free all the time to listen to the podcast. They just have pro features like graphic organizers and vocabulary supports as well. So there's great scaffolds so all students can listen to these podcasts. So it's really good that we're integrating all 4 language domains when we're planning these learning activities, that we're allowing our students to speak, listen, read, and write if possible. I know a lot of you guys use Flipgrid already. That's another great resource so students are able to practice their academic language and speaking as well. So those are a couple of resources that I had to share.
Great, thank you. So right now, I just wanted to go back to the chat and ask if any of you are using specific resources or if you have any ideas or anything on here that you've used that you really like, or things that you're doing that you would like to share. Or if you'd like to unmute and talk, be my guest.
One thing that I just want to mention is that I know a lot of teachers are using Padlet and learning menus. I think that's great to give our students many options.
I love that, Mariah. I think the choice boards are awesome. I also found a link that I need to add for ELA. I mean, this could be social studies as well, but it's students that are adding a slide in Google Slides, and they're just talking about just their experience this week. And so kids can go in and read other students from around the country. And I'm not sure if it's worldwide yet, but I know it's just throughout the United States for now, but they can read about other kids and their experience of what's going on right now. And I loved that idea where they can go in and just read about others and even create their own Google slide and share with other people.
Andrea, I just shared that a teacher from Eastwood said it was all right to share her Padlet that she's using for her advisory students. So if you go into the virtual CPR document, there's a sample Padlet in there so that people could see how it's being used, at least for advisory, but it could obviously transfer to contents too. So you can pull that up.
So hopefully you can still see my screen. You can see this Padlet as an example. If students wanted to go in here, they could click the plus and literally add just whatever they want to write. What do you miss about school? You can see, I miss seeing 900 plus people every day and laughing with my friends. I miss my friends. I can't talk because half of them don't have phones. So you can really just ask questions at the top and students can go in and add what they want.
And it looks like Mariah just shared one in the chat too that is probably content related, I'm guessing.
I'm going to pull that one up so you can see it. All right, can you see that now? Okay, so hopefully you can see Mariah's. Mariah, if you want to unmute and talk about it, go ahead. Share.
Yeah, so really we're trying to think of ways that we can get our kids to read and write and listen. We've been doing a locura de marzo, so it's like a bracket of songs in advanced Spanish, so how to get them still engaged in that. Some extra things that are a little more cultural, and then things that are related to the coronavirus specifically, but in the target language that they can engage in. And then there's lots of things embedded within those. So there are songs, there are infographics. The BBC has a really cool interactive system. Some of them are connected to SEL. One of the readings is about yoga specifically. All of our classes have engaged in Senior Wooly, and Senior Wooly also has a 2-week free subscription for teachers right now. So it's kind of another way that they can engage in authentic and relevant material. And then there are other things that they can do with their families. And then they've created their own things. One kid, instead of doing a TikTok, actually did a Just Dance to one of our songs from our March Madness bracket. So that was kind of cool to see how they're interacting and engaging.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing. If you need help with setting up Padlet, myself, Laura, Madeline, any of us, Mariah, I'm sure we would love to help you with that. It's very easy. Okay, well, I am going to go ahead and wrap up. I just want to thank you all for joining us. If you need any help with any of these resources, please feel free to reach out. We are happy to jump on and help you, create any of those e-learning lessons or learning activities that you need to push out. So please feel free to reach out to us. There's a lot that's out there. So if you're looking for something specifically, I know it can be overwhelming to look at that document, but if you're looking for something specifically, feel free to reach out to the coaches. And if you want to stay on and ask us any questions, please feel free. If you have any one-on-one questions or anything, the coaches will stay on for a few minutes. Thank you.
Thanks, Westlane. It was really good to see you all today.
Lee Muller, Camille, I know Lee Muller loves Nearpod. Andrea McCoy, I think, has used Nearpod. So if you are wanting to do that, Oh, there you go. Andrea loves Nearpod, so reach out to her. Love. Okay, we got it. She loves it. So reach out to her, Camille. Nick, that's a good question on IXL. I will definitely reach out to IXL and ask. I know a lot of the companies that we already have relationships with or partnerships with are giving us free access to everything. So I haven't heard from IXL yet. So I will definitely reach out. I'm writing that down right now, and I will email you and email others if we have access to all of the other contents. All right. Any other questions for those of you still on? Yeah, Michael, it is very overwhelming. Please reach out to the coaches. They are definitely working one-on-one with teachers. And if you need help with any of the lessons or creating choice boards or anything like that, please reach out to them because they are working with teachers. So, don't hesitate to reach out for help.